I really think regardless, people want to see your face. So I think on all of the platforms, if you're doing lives, I think that's going to really help. And I would say, don't forget you can repurpose. So if you're on Instagram, you do a reel, you can still push it out to YouTube for the shorts, or I don't know much about TikTok, but I'm sure you can because I see a lot of TikTok going on Instagram. So you can actually use that same one reel and you can spread it out.
Welcome to Two VAs and a Mic, your guide to making money and serving your community. In our podcast, we'll help you learn about the journey of monetizing your skills and providing your services professionally, all from the comfort of your home.
We also will talk to our business owners, authors, writers, CEOs, and solopreneurs who may use or benefit from using a VA in their business. Boil all that down to two VAs and a mic, and then mix them together with two different perspectives, flared with expertise.
What do you get? Shauntá Harris, founder of Shauntá's VA, LLC.
And Lovelee Brooks, founder of Lovelee Occasions and Etc., LLC.
Good morning, everyone, and anyone that may be listening to the replay. Hello, and welcome to the room where we are talking about what platform should you promote on. This room is hosted by the Virtual Assistants Alliance Club, where we talk about all things virtual assisting to encourage, educate, and inspire with our tips, tricks, and experiences to elevate any and all VAs. If you are not already a member of this club, please click on the greenhouse at the very top. My name is Lovelee Brooks, and I'm the founder of Lovelee Occasions and Etc., a virtual assistant agency where we specialize in operations and launch support. We alleviate the business owners from back-end day-to-day management so they can focus on their zone of genius and scaling their business. I am also a coach for new and inspiring virtual assistants, and I help them build sustainable, thriving virtual assistant careers. So I also want to take a moment just for co-moderator to introduce herself.
Good morning. My name is Shauntá Harris, and I am the founder of Shauntá's VA. I specialize in newsletters and blogs, privacy policies, and low content books.
And let's go ahead and get into it. So what platform should you promote on? So Shauntá, which direction do you want to go with that? Because I feel like that alone is just like a loaded question there.
More or less where your ideal clients would be, because each platform has a specific purpose. I think that's just my personal opinion. Most of you, if you do hear me speak, I'm not a Facebook or a Instagram person per se. I prefer LinkedIn and Twitter. And my reasoning for that is because I write articles and it's easier for me to put a link there for them to go straight to whatever platform I posted on versus a platform like Instagram where I can just only put like the cover and then have to go through my comments. Through my caption to click on any particular link to go somewhere else or to have them refer back to my bio where my solo is. So for me, I think it's important that when you are promoting your business that you know which platform works for you.
I think that's interesting. You started off talking about where your ideal client is, and then you ended up talking about what works for you. So, do you have a mixture or?
Well, for me personally, I think my ideal clients are more on Twitter and Instagram because I'm more for copying and words,
No, I think you're completely right in actually everything you said. I think it is important for you to know where your ideal client is and where they hang out. I do think your ideal client may hang out primarily in one space a little bit more than in the other. However, I do feel like you also need to take in consideration what platforms actually work best for you. If you don't really like to be visible, then, Clubhouse may be your thing. If you like the way certain things post, like she said, because I know even with Instagram, you can't really necessarily put links. I find that kind of a chore myself. Inside of your caption, you either have to refer them to in your bio, or what I usually do is tell them to DM me a certain word because they can actually look at that post at any time. It could be an old post. So, those are some obstacles and some things to think about as well.
Yeah, so like I was saying with the caption, I think with Instagram that's a little frustrating, because if I'm writing something, I really want you to get to that article.
So, hi everybody. I am Lavelle, a virtual assistant specializing in project management at Outsource Mondays. And I have a question that I wanted to pose you guys because you guys are always posting like these reels and stuff on Instagram and all these other places. What if you're not into the tech that your ideal client is into? Like, what's your alternative there?
What
What
do
do
you
you mean?
Like if your ideal client say is a person that's always on Instagram and you're not feeling Instagram, or you don't know how you're supposed to really be promoting on Instagram, like what do you do in that case? Do you outsource it?
I mean, you can, but again, I think there is some of your ideal client on all the platforms. That's just me. There may be some where they're more in a certain spot than others. But yeah, if you're going to be on Instagram, you really should do reels, because your reach is like, it's just that's pretty much how you can expand your reach. And as of right now, in my opinion, is almost kind of like the only way to really expand your reach. It's not really the only way, but it's kind of the only major way, because they're going to share that like 10 times more than they will share what you just post. So, and they want you to be consistent. So try to stick with what you can. But I mean, if you don't like showing your face or something like that, here recently, just to try to keep my little algorithm trying to keep it normal, um, you don't have to show your face. You can actually take some of your old posts, throw some music behind it, and throw it out there. So, but I will say, potential clients, they do want to see your face because that's where that trust factor comes in at. So, what is your response on that, Lavelle?
Well, I guess that's doable.
You could you could still do it.
Don't matter.
You could still use the reels to your benefit, like if I put an article out, it's normally never going to be posted on Instagram. It's always going to most likely be on Twitter or what other platform that I post on. However, I will put a reel of that post on Instagram and put the link to that article there. That way it's easier access and they can just click on the link. And that way you could have your ideal client, if that's what you're choosing, on Instagram, but you could also pull them to another platform by having them click onto that link and see what other things that you have going on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Well, what is your goal, Lavelle? What is your goal? Because I think with you specializing in project management, and then you can tell me your ideal client, but they're everywhere. Everybody needs project management. So, what's your goal? What's your ideal client?
Well, it is somebody that needs project management and ideally has like a team of people that they need help managing. And I guess it goes back to, I guess, the foundational question of where are your ideal clients hanging out, really? I think that's probably the foundational question that we have to go back to. But I know that a lot of people are just on Instagram and they're like, Reels is one of the things now.
Girl, you gotta get on the reels. I was so excited when I saw that post you put on there. I will be looking. But if you really want
Me too.
to, if you really want to know the truth, and you're talking about teams, I would go to LinkedIn. I think they're probably more so on LinkedIn. It's going to be easier for you because, in order for you to find a person who is set enough financially to actually have a team, they're no longer like a startup and they may or may not be a small business. I feel like you're going to find more of those people actually on LinkedIn. And what you might like about LinkedIn is you don't have to necessarily persuade them to follow you. You can go on there and just start clicking on random people. You can put in a little search bar team, right? And all these different people who are maybe leaderships and team, HR with teams, whatever, anything that has to do with team, those people will come up and you can request to connect with them. Now, I am not personally a DM person, but once they connect with you, they can see the post that you put on LinkedIn. So then that's when you can start posting and talking about your team and how you are an amazing project manager for people with teams. But if you want to take it one step further on LinkedIn, you might want to, you want to build that relationship. I mean, so far in my personal experience, it really has been about relationship and, constantly looking to see, oh, okay, does this person need help or so forth? And then you go out in the DM and be like, hey, I'm a project manager. I really love working with different teams. Or you can wait for them to respond to your post and then you can reach out to them. So they're kind of warm. But that would be my thoughts. I don't really, I mean, there's some on Instagram, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't think of Instagram as first place for teams. I also would say Clubhouse is really good too. I get a lot of people in my back channel sometimes when they just hear me talk. And you just being on stage and just asking a question, then you pop up on other people's profile that you were on stage and they go back and they listen to the replays and then they can still back channel you and say, hey, Lavelle, I heard you in the virtual assistant room on Monday, and you were saying that you're a project manager that specializes with people with teams. I would like to, know more about what you're doing. So that's how I personally would go about that. But I still want to see your reels. I think reels are awesome. Does that help, Lavelle?
Yes. And I want to open the floor for anybody else that had comments.
Hey, Jeanette. Hi, Naz. So we are talking about what platforms you promote on. So, do you guys have any thoughts on as a business person, what platforms you would go to first, or what are your thoughts on that? And we'll go with Jeanette. Oh, well, you can go, Naz, go for it.
Okay. It depends on what kind of content you are sharing because what I know is that lives are being pushed a lot on all the platforms because at the end of the day is what do these platforms profit off the most? What's the most beneficial for them? And that is time spent on the app. So lives are very much promoted by Instagram, by YouTube, even Facebook and TikTok, all the apps. So I mean, they added rooms, they added all type of things now to different apps, even Twitter with Spaces. I think even LinkedIn got their own audio section. So you could do live video, you could do live audio, whatever it is, but it really depends on what kind of content you're sharing, whatever you're doing. Um, that's how you pick your audience, and that's how you pick your crowd. But personally, I try to be on most of the apps. Of course, I know I get it. You got to choose one and be consistent on it and stuff. But I still think you can have at least two or three. I mean, you don't have to be present in all of them, But I think also now YouTube, since they're having also shorts, and I definitely can say they are being pushed a lot, and they're really like all changing to lives. I would consider that as well.
I agree. And, that brings up a few things. Like, I really think, regardless, people want to see your face. So I think on all of the platforms, if you're doing lives, you know, I think that's going to really help. And I would say, don't forget you can repurpose, you know? So if you're on Instagram, you do a reel, you can still push it out to YouTube for the shorts, or I don't know much about TikTok, but I'm sure you can because I see a lot of TikTok going on Instagram. So you can actually use that same one reel and you can spread it out, and then even with Clubhouse, take the audio, put you some pictures on it, throw that bad boy on YouTube, cut it up, make it some reels, make it a short, so you're optimizing what you're doing. I do feel like everybody is a little bit everywhere. So again, I think just the more you're visible, the more in some ways you're going to get the ideal client that you want. Now, there may be some that's a bigger percentage in one platform than the other, but I think it just kind of all depends.
I wanted to add something if you don't mind. What I'm trying to do is, like you have typically on Facebook and Instagram, because they've been there since I don't know when, like forever. You typically have your friends from in real life and family and all of that. I try to do it differently with TikTok. For example, I do not want anybody I know on my TikTok, because it just makes no sense. Like, I not everybody has to follow me on every app. I'm trying to get to more people and reach more people, and not always the same people. And you'll be surprised how much freer you are when you do not have people looking at your content, because that's very limiting to a lot of people.
I never looked at it like that, but yeah, I could see that. I could see that because I know on Facebook, my parents are some of the first people to just pop up, and I'm like, but come on now. Jeanette, do you have anything to add or any thoughts on this?
I am, thanks to you, Lovely, in our conversation last week, have to literally sit down and plan out my strategy, because now I know who my target audience is, and I have to find where they are and go get them. So I am all prepared to be on camera and go live and do videos and, you know give the people what they need. So I am learning, listening, and ready to go.
I heard you speak about it, I think, in the room last night, and it sounded amazing. I mean, it did. I knew it sounded amazing, but it sounded even more amazing when other people are listening to it. I really think you have something very special there, and I think it's going to really go far. So yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes, and I think everyone in the room was too. So I think you caught their attention; they were listening. I could tell, especially the men. They was like, "What? Okay."
It's not like something that I just like had a list of things. This has been something that I felt passionate about basically my whole life. That wasn't scripted or anything. So that is truly from my heart. That is the audience that I want to serve, you know?
Right. And I always think
Now
that.
I'm curious.
Go ahead.
Me too, Ness. Me too.
Okay, Jeanette, do you really want to do this to us? Leave us in the dark?
Okay. If I have Lovely's permission, I will share.
Yes. Go ahead.
So my target audience are dadpreneurs, especially single fathers. And because I've always been an advocate for fathers, because fathers tend to get a bad rap because they're always working and they miss out on so much with their families because because I'm really old fashioned. They're the head of the house. They're they're trying to make sure they're the provider, but you also need to be the provider emotionally and mentally and recreationally to your family as well. And so I live in a state where it's a woman's state where regardless of the mom and all of us are learning how to be parents as we go, but a lot of the people that I run into, like, I can go off of my personal story. There was a point in my life where I was not the strongest parent and the best parent for our 3 children. I will say that with all conviction. And my husband was the emotionally stable parent, the patient parent, the one that the kids gravitated to because I was not emotionally available to my kids because of past trauma. And I see a lot of men struggle with their parental rights and they're limited because they're the father. But sometimes, depending on the mental state of the mom, the dad is the strong parent that's going to nurture the children. There are nurturing fathers out there, and everything. And they don't get the credit that they deserve. And I want to give them that work-life balance back so they don't have to make the phone call. I'm running late. I'm not going to make it to the game. I'm not going to make it to your play. I'm not going to be able to take you to that father-daughter dance because this came up. They're running their business or because of work. I want them to be able to get hours back of that time that is so limited as a parent from birth to 18 that they will never get back again, so they can have strong relationships with their children and with their significant other. So that's my passion. It always has been. Those fathers that want full custody of their children because they really are the best parent, especially those and those dads who deal with domestic violence as well. They're the victims of domestic violence. They're trying to get their children to a safe place. So that's my passion. It always has been. I've talked to my husband about it for 20 something years. We've been together and he's like, well, then do it. And then Lovelee just helped pull it all the way out of me. And here we are.
Nice. Very nice.
Very cool. Yeah.
So have you figured out which platform? Because Father's Day is coming up, right?
I know.
So in your strategy, have you thought of what platforms dads are on? I know.
Lovelee, when did we discover that this was my true pet? Was it Friday?
Okay.
Yeah, it's that recent. It's literally that. And my coaches have been saying, you don't have a target audience. And I'm like, I know. So
If
yeah.
I were you, and because you are so specific, you can actually invite dads to a lack of better word, a webinar, but not even a webinar, just like have a single dad bring your kid online party and do an activity, and then you tell them what you do and how you can help them while you're there. You get to meet these wonderful people, and it would be perfect around day.
Yes. Thank you. I was
That's a
looking.
cool idea.
Yeah.
I agree.
They have something to do with their kids, and it helps show that genuine side that you're not just there for them and it's not just a gimmick. You're there for support of the unit as a whole, meaning the children as well as the father. But yeah, Father's Day, it's awesome time to roll that out. Yep.
And 2 suggested platforms to find the dadpreneurs, in my opinion, would be Discord and Reddit. And I choose to say Discord because games, right? A lot of men, they like to watch the football games and they also like to play the video games, especially if they do have children that are interested in, let's say, like Roblox or anything like that. They're going to be on those platforms, 1, monitoring their kids, hopefully, and 2, because it's a community of men playing against each other. So some of your ideal clients could be on those two platforms. I try to suggest to people not the just the average ones, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, your LinkedIn. Try to look outside the box, but Discord and Reddit, just, if you don't have an account, try those two out and you may get a population that you never even thought of, or even young men, that strive to be an entrepreneur. You have two demographics right there that you could possibly target.
Thank you so much. And yes, definitely, because I'm not a gamer, but my husband is. So I know about the games and everything. I know about the systems, and then anything dealing around sports, I can talk sports all day. So definitely, yes, 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 yes. Thank you so much.
Awesome. What I would say when I'm thinking about my ideal client, I put them in three categories. If you had a client somewhere in the past that you just really, 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 really love working with, figure out why you liked working with them. From their personality to the industry they were in, what demographics, do you prefer to work with females or males? So start looking at that. If you haven't had maybe that privilege where you're just like, oh, I just want 15 more of this particular client, then you may want to look at around who is it that you think you would want to work with. You know, I kind of think of that as like the star dreamy kind of idea. And then last but not least is to look at your past self. That's like the third one. And that one always sounds confusing, or at least I feel like it comes out of my mouth sounding confusing. But let's just say, okay, so I coach and mentor virtual assistants. Well, my ideal client is how I was when I first started, because I was really confused on how to get started, how to really target who I wanted to speak with. And over time and with experience, some of those things I've learned from basically a lot of failures, of course, of how I want to show someone who may be in that position now. So those are just kind of like three different ways to start off thinking about it. And then also think about your passion. So like Jeanette, you're always going to do better if you stick with your passion, what your heart is singing about. The more authentically you can be, the more you're going to attract people that you enjoy working with, because you don't have to act a certain way or wonder a certain thing or anything like that. So that would be kind of just, how I would kind of first start off trying to look at it. I wouldn't just necessarily jump to, oh, I want to do this industry or that industry. I like to think about the people, because if you can connect with the people first and have that passion behind it, and then you have your reason, you got to look at your why. Like Jeanette's was pretty clear there on her why that's important to her. Then it will all come together and it will just start bringing clarity. But I'm also, I got to put this out here. I'm also about my coins. So I'm going to tell you this too. Don't get so distracted in having a niche that it is keeping you from going out there and putting yourself out there. Because what can happen is you just may run into your dream client while you're putting yourself out there and you didn't have clarity. And then guess what? Now you want 15 more people just like this one. So might as well get paid while you're figuring stuff out. All right. And then we got Jennifer on the stage. Jennifer, you have some thoughts on platforms you should promote on?
Good morning, everybody. Now, Lovely, we spoke about this briefly, and I told you I do not promote myself, okay? I started off on Instagram in December, November-ish, and
I think if you have a content calendar, you have content, you have strategy, sounds like you have everything but physically putting it on there, and it's really uncomfortable, then you just need to outsource that. You just need to get someone to, I mean, throw it up there and call it a day.
I would have to completely agree. Never thought about that, but thank you for that.
Yeah, and if that's it, and you're not asking them to create it either. You're not asking them to come up with a strategy. So you don't even need a social media strategist. You don't need a graphic designer. You just need someone to throw it up there. I mean, you could possibly even get you a little intern and
Oh,
just
good thinking.
so, but it is our business. So if you guys don't really feel comfortable doing something, I mean, we're asking other people to outsource to us. Don't forget to outsource yourself.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, because in the long run, we always have to market ourselves. Even if you're booked out, you need to market yourself because you're not necessarily going to get someone right away all the time. But when the time is right, you still want to have people knocking at your door or people to put on a waiting list or people who's willing to wait until you're ready to take them on. So you don't want to have to keep starting over. The idea is not to hustle all the time. The idea is to have, people who's really just waiting for you or ready for you when you are, or you have a steady, consistent stream. So you do have to market yourself. And I'm going to change the link real quick and talk about SockMed since some of you guys are in the room. And quite honestly, this fits pretty well. So, SockMed is where social media and mindset and marketing all meet together. And right now it's in beta. And this week is the last time it is in beta. So you are going to have 10 master classes on several different platforms. So if you're not comfortable with some of the different platforms that, maybe you just don't know, like I don't know anything about TikTok. I really don't. I imagine it's like Instagram, but I don't know. So if you need to know more about certain platforms, this is the place to go. Plus, they're going to be talking about your mindset, us as entrepreneurs. That is number one. We got to change the way we think. We got to change the way we speak so we can actually get what it is that we want to have and reach our goals. So, right now, because it's in beta, it's only $97. And this is the last week that we are doing at $97. So if you guys want to be a part of that, and learn more strategies, including how to build your landing pages, how to run a successful social media campaign, then click at the top, pay the $97 because the price is going up. So I thought I would shout out. Look at me multitasking here. Getting all of that going. So, does anybody else have any thoughts on this whole what platforms should you promote on? Any tips?
Use the replays. I like Jennifer. I am not one to I'm not doing no reels. I'm just not gonna do it. That's just not me. However, since replays came on, I've noticed that I post a lot more, because even if we scheduled this room out, say a week prior, and I post the link anytime after the show, anybody that goes to any of my profiles, Twitter or LinkedIn, can listen to the replays. So for me, that has helped me out because people can hear my voice and just see my profile picture, or my website and see my profile picture, but they also have, you know, an opportunity to hear me speak because I am not someone who does reels. So Jennifer, that would be, you know, another suggestion, or anybody, if you are on stage and you aren't comfortable with posting your face or talking on reels or what have you, use the replays. The link is going to automatically have people link to it, and they're going to automatically be able to hear it. And even on the side, it's going to give them suggestions to other rooms that you may have spoken in, and they can click on that and get more content from you as well. You can't do that on Instagram though. They don't do the links.
I know. Anybody else?
I just want to second the part about the replays, because that is a total game changer on this app. So people are always going to replays, and it's awesome because then I go back and check my replays. You can see how many people have watched it. They go back channel you, and they may DM you and say, I caught your replay, and it's just like awesome. So yes, I concur that replays are amazing.
Awesome. Well, I totally agree. It took me a long time to get on Clubhouse, a long time. But there are so many people on here with some serious value that's in these rooms, and they are needing virtual assistants, they are needing project managers, they are needing whatever it is that you got, and they are listening to replays. I have a potential client who, well, she turned into a client, and she was listening to all my replays. And I was like, okay. So sometimes you just really never know who's listening, who's watching, who's hearing what you got to say. I would encourage you guys, there is a strategy as well to Clubhouse. So don't think for one moment that there isn't, because it is. Even if they're like self-development rooms, Jennifer, get on stage. When you have a question, if you have a question, you can still, people are still slyly introducing themselves. And when you're on stage, other people are, they're looking at your bios. I look at people's bios all the time, and they may not even be the ones really speaking. And then you're like, oh, well, this person does this person does that. But they do usually look at the people on stage first. So even if you're on stage and you're not saying anything, there's some really big rooms I've been in, and I'll just try to get on the stage and not say a thing. Because I know I'm going to be on all of those people's back replays as being a speaker, and they're going to look at my bio, and they're going to reach out to me, and I didn't say a thing. Not a thing. I mean, if you have something to say, that's great, but, you know, I'm just saying. So there's definitely a strategy to it, and you don't have to always promote yourself or anything like that, but there's just always a strategy. So the last thing I want to also bring up is just something that Lovely Occasions and etc. is doing. We are having our second annual Lupus Summit, and it's in honor of Lupus Awareness Month. I am a lupus warrior, so it's just something that my company loves to do is just basically obviously give back, and this is just one of the things that I choose to give back. This year we have amazing speakers from rheumatologists to nutritionists to um, certified nurses to just even other influencers that also have some type of chronic illness. So I want to be clear too, it's not all about people who just have lupus, but we will be touching on people who have chronic illnesses, from rheumatoid arthritis to all kinds of things. So if you guys are interested in that, tickets are $5, and all of those proceeds actually goes to the Foundation of Lupus of America. So that is how we are also helping to donate that. And then we have a chance for you to upgrade to a swag bag. So all of our speakers and different sponsors have also included a digital product. So, and that could be anything from a consultation to ebooks to all different types of things. So, just want to let you guys know about that. If you are interested, by all means, please just hit me in the back channel and I will get you that link. Shauntá, do you have anything?
If you are interested in the Lupus Summit, if you just click the link right above our heads, it will be the first link up there. You could go ahead and get your $5 ticket, and you will get an email telling you about the swag bag.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be, I'm really excited this year. Last year we did it too. You guys could see it on our YouTube channel. It wasn't bad. It was the first one, but I am very excited about this year, and we will have it every year. So hopefully it'll just continue to grow and continue to get better and better. We're doing giveaways and all kinds of stuff. So if you're interested in anything like that, especially with health in general, we have some pretty exciting people. Anybody else on the stage maybe has any questions, any closeout, anything else?
I had a quick question.
Sure.
In thinking about what you said earlier to me about thinking about who my ideal client really is, and what if your ideal client isn't currently on any platforms? And uh, how would you say going about to get more of those? The clients that I've already had have really come from word of mouth, somebody knowing about my services, something I've done for someone, and they come to me that way. And I would say that my ideal client is somebody who doesn't technically have a social media presence as of yet. And that's where I would like to come in and help build their social media presence. Just take all the confusion out of it and get them the bare basics to get them started in that area.
Love that. A lot of people, especially in the virtual assistant space, I find forget that clients don't have to be online. You have events that happen locally, networking events. So I would try those. But not only that, I would also just reach out to my local brick and mortars. I know, like, I'm in Kentucky, and Kentucky is just not as advanced as like California or some of these other states. And I'm speaking tomorrow actually at our Small Business Alliance. So you probably have a group as well where there's just the Alliance of Small Businesses, your Chamber of Commerce. There's usually several different groups. So you may want to look into joining some of those. But again, I was getting ready to say a lot of them, you're exactly right. They're behind the eight ball, in my opinion. And I'm sure they would agree too. And me even explaining what I do and how I do it is very intriguing to them. And I actually don't usually even offer social media, but I do for my local people, only because I know for them, you're exactly right. They're just kind of lost a little bit there. So it's a great way to help out your own community. I also like to do certain events like we just came from a pet expo center. We did that. So sometimes the community is just putting on certain events. And I will give you one of my tips to get leads at a physical event. So I always do a drawing. You can do a drawing where you're giving away maybe 2 or 3 hours, or I don't give away hours anymore. I'll give them a gift card for my services, and they come by and they fill out the form. I've explained what I do. They fill it out with their name, address, email, blah blah blah, and it's a drawing. At the end of the event, somebody's going to win either a few hours that you're going to donate, or they're going to win a gift card where they can actually sign up for your services, but you're still discounting it, because you're giving them the gift card that they won. But all of the people in the jar are now your leads. So you're going to call them, you're going to follow up with them, and most likely they're going to start converting for you. So that's one of the things I do in a physical atmosphere. Is that helpful, Alicia?
Oh no, that's very helpful. Thank you.
All right. Well, you guys, I really enjoyed the conversation. Love spending time with all of you guys. And we will see you guys next week.
Thank you for listening to Two VAs and a Mic.
I'm Shauntá Harris.
And I'm Lovelee Brooks. Until next time.
Until next time, peace.